Friend, if you have joined me along my social journey, then you have definitely heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again. I truly believe as an entrepreneur, regardless of where you are along your journey, if you have staff or not, you have a team. And your team is geared and a huge pivotal point of your success of your business. And your team member can be everything from your bookkeeper to your accountant to your lawyer to your suppliers you're dealing with, etc. Your business is a team, and you need all these parts of your team to be successful and flawless for the optimum growth. That's my friend. I love when I can share parts of my team with you. Today on the show, we have Roxanne, who is my bookkeeper, and she is literally a lifesaver. When I had met Roxanne, we had just fired a bookkeeper who turned out wasn't actually doing what they were supposed to be doing. Our books were a mess, and with myself coming from a dental background, not a business background, I was so lost and confused. So when I found Roxanne through social media, I was all in. Her organization, as well as her calming demeanor and just so much insight that she has helped give my business has been honestly such a game changer. So I do recommend that you find a Roxanne in your life when it comes to your books. And again, even if you feel like you are not at the point that your business is ready for a bookkeeper, dive into resources that you can get from bookkeepers. So for example, in the show today, Roxanne does chat about her Etsy profile that has great templates and sheets. This is exactly what I mean. If you're not ready for a bookkeeper, at least make sure that you're doing the things that a bookkeeper would be doing. So when it comes time for that growth, it's going to be less of a hassle and less of an expense, because the more that you are organized now is only going to benefit you in the long run, especially as you start to scale. So friend, Roxanne was on the show last season, and I wanted her to come back because it's that time of the year where we're stressed out. How did another year go by? We maybe reached the goals that we wanted to. We maybe didn't reach the goals that we wanted to. So there's usually a ton of different levels of stress and so much going on. So Roxanne's going to give us some tangible tips on how to really organize our year end and think about things that we need to do for the new year to make sure we start off effectively. Let's dive in to all of the tips and tricks you need to know to end this year strong and to start 2024 with the best growth. If you are a teeth whitening or tooth gem specialist, this is the podcast for you. My name's Rach, and I am the industry leader of all things teeth entrepreneurship. Together, let's learn from real-life experiences to must-have brands on how to take your business to the next level and leave that 9-to-5. Friend, welcome to Whitening Wednesday, and I'm so glad you are here. Let's build a safe industry together.
It's very simple. It's to identify it. So like I said, it's a busy time, so it might happen that you fall off your regular routine of tracking your revenues and expenses. It might not be on your priority list at the moment, which is totally fine. But what will help is to identify, to be able to easily trace back to what you need when you're ready to sit down and actually do your books. When you actually know where to get it and what to get, it will make your life so much easier.
This week's sponsor is Fern Whitening Supplies. If you are tooth whitening or tooth gem tech, you need a Fern in your life. Literally, Fern has everything you could ever need as a teeth whitening or tooth gem technician. From your chairside essentials to your PPE and disinfectant, all the way to a white labeled retail line that is the blank canvas you get to work with. Friend, Fern is literally there for you. Check out Fern Whitening Supplies today and use discount code WW10 for 10% off your first order. Let's get on with the show. Happy Whitening Wednesday. Today on the show, we have Roxanne, who is the owner and founder of OpenBook. Roxanne has been on the show before, and as we know, probably at this point, Roxanne is my bookkeeper, and I love her to bits. She has totally saved our business from so many different obstacles along the way, from cleanup to then growing, etc. So I am the first to say you need a bookkeeper in your life, regardless of where you are along your business venture. But Roxanne came back on the show for season 3 because, obviously, this world, there's always so much insight to let us in on, but also specifically for helping us teeth whitening owners figure out how to close off the year without panic.
Exactly. Thank you, Rachel, for inviting me on your podcast for a second time. I feel truly so honored. But we were just talking before recording that we both woke up today and we're like, oh my God, October. Well, it's Halloween today. October is done. We've entered Q4. We're almost halfway into Q4. And it's a really busy season for a lot of business owners. So I'm really glad that we're getting to chat today and talk about some quick tips on how to properly close out your year with bookkeeping. Yes. And it doesn't matter where you live in terms of these tips. You can be from the States or from Canada. These 3 tips that I have will be really handy for any business owner to ensure that you're organized for tax season in 2024 and just start a new year altogether as well. So I'll just start with my first tip. It's very simple. It's to identify it. So like I said, it's a busy time, so it might happen that you fall off your regular routine of tracking your revenues and expenses. It might not be on your priority list at the moment, which is totally fine. But what will help is to identify, to be able to easily trace back to what you need when you're ready to sit down and actually do your books. When you actually know where to get it and what to get, it will make your life so much easier. So for example, as simple as where do you store your paper receipts? Some people scatter them everywhere. So if you write down or type it out, where do you store your paper receipts? Where do you store your electronic receipts? That can also bring the question of which email do you use to purchase business items from? Some people use 3 different emails, so then it's harder to find those receipts. So if you can pinpoint which email you use, and also if you can create folders within your emails to store those electronic receipts, that help. And where to find your revenue amount. So a lot of people use a selling platform. If you're not sure how to navigate that selling platform, you might need to do a bit of digging and actually write down those steps of like, okay, I need to go into settings, I need to go into analytics, I need to, just so you can obtain those revenue amounts. Or if you are receiving just e-transfers, those are probably in your email. So once again, putting those aside into like a folder. A folder just separate, easy for you to go back to when you need it. And just any other applicable data that you track for your business, just write it down where to find that and how to store it, which brings me to my other one. But if you have it, this is where and how to acquire all of my data list will be a huge lifesaver when you find the time and sit down and do your bookkeeping. And the ideal scenario would be to keep up with your books regularly. But like I said, Q4 is crazy for a lot of entrepreneurs. So that's totally fine. But the second step is really to store it. So this quarter will likely be your most expensive one. You'll probably have a lot of expenses. So like I said, to make sure you have a proper system in place to store your paper and the electronic receipts. So for example, you can find some fun plastic envelopes at Dollarama. It can be very simple for your paper receipts. Just having them in a designated like plastic envelope in a drawer, maybe in your office or somewhere that's easily accessible. And you can also create folders, like I said, in your email and just drag and drop your electronic receipts. So have that designated storage place for both of these will once again make your life so much easier, because if they're scattered everywhere, oh my God, I've been there, and the anxiety that comes with it is just so much. And my third tip, the last one, is to review. So at the end of the year, we'll probably be faced with like our New Year's goals and what has worked, what hasn't worked within the year. It's applicable to your bookkeeping as well, your numbers. What was your bookkeeping system in 2023, and was it working? Was a spreadsheet or software you were using allowing you to like easily visualize your numbers and analyze them to make decisions? Was it easy and fun, I guess, air quotes on fun to use? And if yes, that's great, right? You can totally skip this step. But if you answered like no, then before you start a new year, maybe when you get downtime, try to research for a spreadsheet, which I have some on my Etsy if you're looking for some, or a software that could work best. Let's say you didn't really enjoy maybe QuickBooks, or you didn't enjoy FreshBooks, or whatever the situation is. You can research and learn more about that software, but you can also look into maybe getting assistance and transferring to another one. Just review what you were using if it has worked for you, because there's one that will work for you. You just need to sit down and analyze it. And like bookkeepers like myself are really there to guide you in the process for you to be able to complete your bookkeeping with ease. And you can just reach out to a bookkeeper you feel comfortable to and explain the situation and be like, can you just help me and guide me to something that works best for me? So yeah, don't be shy to reach out to me or any other bookkeeper if you feel your system is lacking or needs a bit of a refresh. So yeah, that's pretty much the 3 steps that I have for you as we wind down the year. Like I said, I acknowledge that not everybody has the time in this quarter to sit down and do this. So just as long as you organize and you're able to find them when you're ready, that's perfect. Yeah, so that's pretty much all of my steps. If you do these, you will be golden. But you can always reach out to somebody if you need help and you feel like you're a bit lost in the process. We're always here to help you with that.
That's amazing. And those are so helpful, and they're not outrageous, right? Like they're very
Exactly.
simple steps. And one thing that I feel like we kind of get caught up in, especially as maybe new entrepreneurs, is we feel like, okay, it's a disaster right now. I'm going to get it organized and then I'll be good to go. But a crazy thing that happens is once you get it organized, you actually realize that you have a lot more problems than you thought you did, because then you're actually seeing your real cash flow, your real
Exactly.
revenue, what's working, etc. So those of you who are listening as teeth whitening entrepreneurs, please do this. Get it organized, especially as we end this new year, because I promise you, once you have it organized, whether you've organized it yourself or you've gotten a professional to help you do this, you are going to have to do a full deep dive of your business, almost like a restart for the new year, because it's true. We get so caught up in day to day of our business. We miss out on where some of our money's going. Like I know you and I have talked a lot about making sure our margins are correct in different areas of our business. And a huge eye opener for me the last time we chatted was processing fees. Like totally forgot to add that into our margins. And it's just little things that, I mean, of course, you the professional think of, but us entrepreneurs, especially with a business backgrounds, are like, wait a second.
Exactly. No, exactly. And if you're doing it on your own, kind of having that system laid out for you. And like you said, once you deep dive in it, you'll start to notice some things that catch you to your eye and you're like, oh, this needs fixing. So working in steps really helps for that. Yeah, just working in steps and really identifying these things that work and don't work for your business and will really help you.
Now, with your expertise with working with so many different types of businesses, how often would you say that you see businesses like kind of have a freak out moment where they're like, okay, I just need to pull back, literally go back to the fundamentals on everything, relook everything. Like, do you find a business owner does that once a year, once a quarter, once a month? Does it really depend on the business or the entrepreneur themselves? Or do you have a recommendation on how many times you should be really going back to the basics in your business?
That's a great question. I really think that what I've noticed is oftentimes at this time of year, just when I find that people have a lot on their mind, is when it starts to get all of like a big storm in their mind. Like they think of everything and everything seems to be not as perfect as they want it to be. Maybe like your pricing is not as what you wanted them to be, or it's not as organized. You're even in your personal life when these things like get added together,
Like a
especially in this
snowball.
quarter. Yeah, a snowball, exactly. So I would say this quarter is most oftentimes the one that gets really hectic. Following that too is Q1 when tax season starts to roll
Yeah.
around and they get confronted with, oh, I have nothing, or I have to go back through everything. So I would say Q4 and then following into Q1. And steps and just tips for how to help with this is just maybe do a quarterly review of your system, not all the time, but just maybe, like I said, once every quarter, just sitting down and seeing, does my system work for me? And work can be very different for everybody, right? So work for you might mean, am I spending my allocated, let's say 30 minutes, maybe a month, just entering everything? Is it smooth? Is it easy? Can I export the reports? Can I see the numbers easily? Do I know where to go? So just analyzing all of this. Some questions might pop up when you do this, and it's up to you to like find ways to fix it or reach out to somebody to help you. But I'd say every quarter, just sitting down and asking yourself those questions, and even thinking about, if I were to have, maybe you do have employees, maybe you don't, but maybe thinking of it as, if I were to have my employees sit down in front of me and like look at this, would they know kind of how to navigate it
Mm,
or anything of the sort? So maybe thinking of somebody else in your shoes, kind of looking at everything. Is it clear? Is it, like I said, easy to navigate, easy to understand? So make it very simple and yeah, analyze it every quarter to see if it's still working for you, because your business will grow and your business will change. So maybe, like example, integrating an app within your bookkeeping software that integrates within, let's say, your Shopify platform. Oh, I'm scaling. I can't keep entering all of this revenue manually on my own. Maybe adding this app could help. So I think doing this analysis will bring you new ways of doing things, things that need updating, and things that aren't working at all that you need to switch. So doing that will definitely be an eye opener for you.
so helpful. And I love that you pointed out that obviously your business should be scaling. So
Yeah,
I've also
exactly.
heard this on other podcasts as well, that you really should be setting up your business from day one, that anyone could come in and run your business, because as you scale, you're not going to have time to go back and redo everything. So you have to make sure that it makes sense from a standpoint that not only you recommend or can understand, but that any business employee could come in, and for this specific topic, we're talking about bookkeeping, but I mean, even for like your step by step for your teeth whitening
Yeah.
process, like there should be such laid out guidelines on how to get that done, that Sally can come in hired and your protocols are there, that she knows exactly what to do. So, exact same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so, so helpful. Oh,
Yeah, so those, they're really called like SOPs, right? Some people
yes.
say system of procedures or standard operating procedures, I think. So there's a lot of different ways to say it, but yeah, getting into the routine of maybe when you start something new or when you're doing a task, even writing those out, those steps of like how to do certain things. Like you said, for somebody to come in and just do it, and even for yourself to refer back to it, they're great to have on hand.
Oh, for sure. So, what if we have a listener right now who's listening and they're like, oh, okay, I love these tips. I'm going to follow them. But I'm at this point now where I can't afford to bring on a professional, but I still need some guidance. Talk to us about your Etsy spreadsheets. What are some goodies in there that could really help the entrepreneur that can't afford to bring on that professional yet, but still needs some guidance?
Yeah, for sure. So there's two spreadsheets on my Etsy that come to mind. There's one called if you're in Canada, the Canadian Small Business Owner Spreadsheet. This is great to really automate all of your numbers from each of your monthly tabs to like a yearly profit and loss that you can bring to your tax professional. Also calculates your GST, HST for you if you're a registrant.
Amazing.
For my USA folks, your USA listeners, I should say, there's also another spreadsheet that's a very customizable spreadsheet. You can add all of your revenue and expense categories. And from there, it's the same concept. Their monthly tabs, it auto populates into a profit and loss. They just don't have that GST, HST feature that the Canadians have. They can for sure use that as a base to start. And I totally understand it's not always possible and feasible to hire somebody off the bat. So those spreadsheets are really great tools. And not only mine, but I'm sure if you look through Etsy, you can find ones that really tailor to your specific needs. If you like specific graphs or anything of the sort, specific colors, you can always reach out to the Etsy owner or myself and have those customized for you.
Really?
So that's an option. Yeah, for sure.
That's so neat.
Yeah, all of them mostly are really, from what I found, are really open to having those edits done for you. It's very easy and simple to do. And also, I wanted to mention, I know it's not always feasible, like I said, but oftentimes you can reach out to a bookkeeper and say, listen, this is what I'm currently able to afford. This is what I need to have done for my business. Can you maybe help me set up a system that works for me? Or can you maybe onboard me as a client for this amount of money per month? Can what I need be offered to me for this price point, right? Don't be shy to be open and ask those questions. And if they say, unfortunately, no, then they are not the bookkeeper for you, right? So, but just being open and asking those questions, you might be able to find somebody that is able to help you in that price point. Or, like I said, just create you a system that works for you to use on your own. Those are all great options if you're looking at your pennies and just wanting to make sure you grow before adding all of those different people into your business.
Such a great tip. And I feel like we kind of get discouraged to do those things, but it's true. You really don't know unless you ask.
Exactly. And we work with the numbers, right? So it might be intimidating for you, but since we do work in numbers all the time, if somebody comes up to us and say, this is our budget, we're like, clap, clap, good for you. Like, good job on setting a budget and a price point for yourself. Like, kudos. So don't be shy to bring those questions to a bookkeeper if you need to. They'll probably give you a pat on the back for that one.
Exactly. And plus, think usually your set rates, regardless of what type of professional you are, is usually you calculating in your mind a set amount of hours, etc., that would go into it. So if you're going straight to that professional and you're saying, here's what I need, X, Y, and Z, that's obviously probably going to be a lot less hour work. So you never know, like that might make sense for them to be able to help you with that specific project. So
of course, I've had some clients meet me halfway too. Some clients like to do half of the work, did the rest of the half of the work, and it's more cost friendly for them, right? So lots of different options.
Yes. Amazing, Roxanne. It's always so great having you on the show. So much insight, and I know our techs love it. So where can we follow along? And also, what about finding those templates on Etsy?
Yeah, so you can definitely find those all in the link in my bio on Instagram. I have everything tagged in there to easily reach out to me, see everything on my website, and also access those spreadsheets on Etsy, all in the link in my bio.
Amazing. And it's just OpenBook.
OpenBookCA.
CA. Amazing. Yes. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Rachel, again for having me on. I really appreciate it. And you just have a really great podcast and platform for people to find and access this information. It's really great.
Oh, thanks so much. Well, it's all thanks to fellow entrepreneurs like you who come on and chat. So thank you so much. And those who are listening, check us out again next week for another episode of Whitening Wednesday.